Hello, everyone, and hi, Hazel. 1 second pause.
Welcome to BookPodCastZone.
I'm Emma, and I'm really thrilled to be your guide today. We're about to embark on what I genuinely think will be an incredibly insightful and, well, practical deep dive.
And I'm John, here to help sort of connect the dots, bring in some of that broader context, and, make sure all this valuable knowledge really sticks with you.
Today, we're peeling back the layers of Louise Thomson's guide, The Leader's Voice, a communication playbook. Honestly, it feels indispensable.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're looking to maybe amplify your influence or clarify your vision or just connect more effectively with, well, anyone you lead, this book is truly a blueprint.
Yeah.
Thomson doesn't just frame communication as like a soft skill, she elevates it. It's the fundamental engine of leadership itself.
Right.
We're talking about the power to inspire, the power to align really diverse teams, and the ability to project an authenticity that actually resonates.
Exactly. And our mission with this deep dive is, well, it's to dissect every core principle Thomson lays out. We want to explore the, fascinating historical context that underpins these ideas, and then ground it all firmly with real-world U.S.-based examples, practical stuff.
Yeah, tangible examples.
I would be pulling every vital nugget from this audiobook, really trying to transform what might seem like complex theories into clear, actionable takeaways for you.
So the goal is really to equip you, our listener, with practical tools you can start using, maybe even today.
Right. Turning those abstract concepts into concrete strategies that, well, genuinely enhance your leadership presence. It's kind of your shortcut to being exceptionally well-informed in this really critical area.
Okay, so with that mission in mind, where does Thomson even begin? She kicks off The Leader's Voice with a really foundational truth in Chapter 1, the power of words in leadership. And what she reveals right off the bat isn't just that word choice matters for leaders. I mean, we probably know that. But it's that the precision and the intent behind every single word, they aren't just important, they're like the DNA of influence.
Wow, the DNA. I like that.
Yeah, every utterance, every sentence becomes a strategic act. It can either ignite inspiration or, dissolve trust. It's this surprising truth that effective leadership is really at its heart a masterclass in linguistics.
And what's truly fascinating is how Thomson unpacks that, how deliberate language achieves these, well, profound outcomes. It starts with precision.
Okay.
And this isn't about using, like, big fancy words or sounding overly academic. It's about cutting through ambiguity.
Right, getting rid of the fuzziness.
Exactly. Selecting words that cut through the noise and convey exact meaning. For instance, think about a common workplace directive, something like, let's improve team collaboration.
Okay, yeah, hear that all the time. Vague.
Totally vague. Thomson would argue that precision means saying something much more specific, like, by Friday, I need a proposal outlining 3 specific initiatives to increase cross-functional communication between our marketing and product teams, starting with a joint weekly stand-up. See the difference?
Huge difference. It removes all the guesswork. It drives actual action.
Precisely, that's precision.
That's a perfect illustration. And then she talks about intention, right? Which Thomson emphasizes is just as critical.
Absolutely.
This means basically understanding the desired outcome of your communication before you even open your mouth or, start typing that email.
Yeah. What's the goal here?
Right. Are you trying to inform, persuade, motivate, maybe calm things down? Each intention needs a totally different linguistic approach.
Makes sense.
Like, informing a team about a new policy requires, well, clarity and facts. But motivating them through a tough quarter, that needs language that evokes resilience, shared purpose.
Totally different feel.
Without that clear intention, even the most perfectly precise words can just fall flat, miss the mark completely.
And the third piece she brings in is understanding the emotional resonance of words. This is powerful stuff.
Okay, emotional resonance. Tell me more.
Well, every word carries a certain weight, right? It can evoke specific feelings in your audience, whether you intend it to or not.
Ah, okay, like the subtle differences.
Exactly. Think about the difference between calling something a challenge versus a problem.
Big difference in feeling.
Or an opportunity versus just a task. Leaders aren't just conveying data, they're shaping emotions, shaping perceptions.
So it's about aligning the words not just logically, but emotionally too.
Precisely. Thomson urges leaders to choose words that align not only with the logical message, but also with the emotional state they want to foster. Words that inspire hope, maybe, or encourage calm, build confidence, instead of words that might incite fear or confusion.
That really transforms communication, doesn't it? From just information exchange to, like, a powerful act of influence.
It really does.
Yeah.
And Thomson doesn't just leave you with a theory. She gives you practical tools.
Okay, good. Like what?
Well, a key activity she suggests right near the beginning is self-assessing your communication style.
Self-assessment. Okay, why is that so important?
Because it's not some, navel-gazing thing.
Yeah.
It's crucial for identifying your personal strengths first. What do you naturally do well? Maybe you're great at articulating vision, or you're really concise.
Right, knowing your strong points.
But maybe even more importantly, it's for uncovering those hidden gaps in your verbal toolkit.
Ah, the blind spots.
Exactly. Maybe you're fantastic at inspiring people, but you struggle with delivering, say, direct constructive feedback without it sounding kind of harsh.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one for many.
Or maybe you're super concise, but sometimes your messages lack a bit of warmth or empathy.
So understanding your current style, your tendencies, those blind spots, that's the starting point.
It's the absolute foundational first step towards purposeful improvement, towards becoming a more versatile communicator. Thomson basically says, without this self-awareness, trying to refine your communication is like, trying to navigate complex terrain without a map.
You need that baseline.
You need that baseline so you can intentionally develop new habits and expand your range.
Okay, so if we connect this to the bigger picture historically, Thomson provides some really compelling context. It shows how this focus on word choice has actually evolved in U.S. leadership.
Yeah, the history is fascinating.
Think back to the 1980s, for example. Ronald Reagan. He was an absolute master of, clear, optimistic, and often really emotionally resonant rhetoric.
A great communicator, they called him.
Right. His Morning in America campaign is a prime example. It wasn't just a catchy political slogan. It was a deeply crafted narrative designed to evoke a sense of renewed hope, national pride, especially after a period of, economic struggle.
Reagan's genius, I think, was in simplifying complex stuff. Economic issues, social issues. He made them relatable, aspirational, often using vivid imagery.
Like the shining city on a hill.
Exactly. That phrase resonated so deeply with the American psyche, didn't it? A beacon of freedom, opportunity. He understood that powerful words could reshape how people felt, unite a diverse population, move them towards a common vision.
And not just through logic, but through that emotional connection, that shared optimism.
Right. And his speeches often used simple declarative sentences. He avoided jargon. That made his message accessible to pretty much everyone.
Okay, so that's the 80s. Then fast forward to the 2010s, and we see this really interesting shift,
Yeah, a definite pivot.
Simon Sinek's Start With Why TED Talk. It became this global phenomenon, and it emphasized a move towards, authentic storytelling, vulnerability even.
Right. The idea that why you do something, your core purpose, your belief, is often way more compelling than just what you do or how you do it.
That golden circle idea he has. Communicating from the inside out.
Exactly. Start with purpose, then process, then the product or service. It encouraged leaders to articulate their why with real clarity and passion.
And that fostered supposedly more genuine loyalty and inspiration, both from teams and customers.
It was definitely a profound shift from those grand unifying narratives like Reagan's towards more personal, transparent ones. It became about forging deeper connections based on shared values, shared beliefs, not just, say, national identity or economic goals.
But the underlying power of words, carefully chosen words, to connect and influence, that remained constant, didn't it?
Absolutely constant. The focus evolved, but the core principle, it endured.
So how does this play out now? In the modern U.S. landscape, with all this history, Thomson offers a really compelling current example from 2025.
Okay, let's hear it.
U.S. tech CEOs, think Salesforce's Mark Benioff, leveraging incredibly concise posts on X, formerly Twitter.
The short form.
Right. To articulate clear visions. And this isn't just PR or quick updates. It's about mastering the art of delivering a precise, impactful message within those strict character limits and the immediate nature of social media.
So Benioff uses X strategically, not just casually.
Apparently so. Often massive. And that's not some soft qualitative metric. It's a measurable business outcome. When employees actually understand and connect with the leader's vision.
They're naturally more engaged, more directed. It makes sense.
Totally. And this example resonates so deeply because it highlights the immediacy of platforms like X, right?
Yeah.
The demanding need for conciseness in modern digital comms, and the incredible, far-reaching power of a leader's digital footprint.
Your words, even in a short post, carry immense weight. They could drive tangible, strategic results.
Yeah. Thompson's insights show that adapting to new channels doesn't diminish the need for powerful language. If anything, it intensifies it.
Her analysis really demonstrates precisely how carefully chosen words directly shape a leader's influence. It's not just that they matter, but how they matter, and she gives you pathways to improve, moving beyond just speaking to truly leading with every single word.
Absolutely. And hey, if you're finding this deep dive valuable so far, please remember to like, subscribe, and share for more updates and insights on critical topics like this one. Your support really helps us bring more deep dives like this directly to you.
And now, let's continue our journey. We've talked about the power of words. Now let's move to the bedrock they build. Trust. This brings us neatly into Chapter 2, Building Trust Through Communication.
Right. And Louise Thomson is really clear on this. She asserts that trust isn't just, a nice-to-have quality in leadership.
Not optional.
Not optional at all. It is, without hyperbole, she argues, the absolute bedrock of all effective leadership communication. Full stop.
And without it.
Without trust, even the most eloquent, perfectly chosen words we just talked about, they just fall flat. They land with skepticism, not conviction.
Yeah, you can picture that. Try and motivate a team during a crisis if they don't believe you're being straight with them.
Exactly. Or trying to implement a new strategy if they doubt your consistency or your motives. The words themselves become almost meaningless without that underlying foundation of trust.
So what are the key pillars Thomson identifies for actually building this bedrock? How do you do it?
She breaks it down. First, there's transparent language.
Okay, transparency. What does that mean in practice?
It means no hidden agendas, no sugarcoating, especially the tough stuff. Being direct and honest, even when the news is difficult or unpopular.
So, laying out the facts, acknowledging challenges.
Yeah, communicating intentions clearly, so your audience feels respected and informed, not like they're being manipulated or misled. That transparency fosters what they call psychological safety.
Makes sense. Okay, pillar number 1, transparent language. What's next?
The second pillar is consistent communication. Reliability is absolutely key here.
Your actions have to match your words over time.
Exactly. If you say you're going to do something, you follow through. If you communicate a direction, you stick to it, unless there's a really clear, transparent reason for a change, which you then explain openly.
Right, because inconsistency just breeds doubt.
It erodes credibility faster than almost anything else. Consistency in messaging, in decision-making, in follow-through, that builds a powerful sense of dependability. People know where they stand.
Okay, transparency, consistency. And the third pillar.
Equally crucial. Active listening.
Listening, not just hearing.
Precisely. This is about truly showing that you genuinely hear and value others' perspectives, their concerns, their ideas, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
It's easy to fall into that trap, isn't it? Formulating your response while they're still speaking.
Totally. Active listening involves not only processing the words, but also observing the nonverbal cues, asking clarifying questions to make sure you understand, and reflecting back what you hear to confirm accuracy. So what I'm hearing is,
that communicates respect, empathy. It signals that the other person's input is genuinely valued, which is fundamental to building deep trust. It's the difference, like you said, between merely hearing and truly understanding.
And again, Thomson provides practical applications. She dives into invaluable activities like trust-building conversation starters.
Okay, examples.
These aren't just polite questions. They're specific types designed to foster openness and psychological safety within teams. She suggests things like opening questions that invite a bit of vulnerability or shared experience.
Like?
Maybe something like, what's one challenge you're currently facing that I might be able to help with? Or, tell me about a time you felt truly supported here at work.
Oh, okay. Those go deeper than just, how's it going?
Exactly. They encourage a different level of sharing than the standard check-ins.
And she really emphasizes that active listening in these moments is way more than just hearing words.
Yeah, it's about understanding the underlying intent, the unspoken emotions, the real meaning behind what someone's trying to say.
Which means resisting that urge to interrupt.
Yeah.
Right, or to jump in with solutions immediately.
Absolutely. Being fully present. Asking those open-ended follow-up questions like, can you tell me more about how that affected you? Or, what was the most challenging part of that for you? It shows genuine curiosity, genuine empathy, powerful catalysts for trust.
Looking back historically, this idea of trust, it has deep roots in leadership thinking, doesn't
Oh,
it?
yeah. Back in the 1990s, you had the huge influence of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective
A
People.
classic.
Right. It really established integrity, character, principle-centered leadership as core competencies for any effective leader. Covey hammered home that trust is built on both competence, your skills, and character, your integrity.
So his models really ingrained the idea that trust wasn't just a nice side effect of good leadership.
No, it was a fundamental ingredient, something you earned through consistent ethical behavior, keeping your commitments, building that emotional bank account, as he called it.
Then fast forward to the 2020s. Everything shifts with remote and hybrid work.
Huge shift. And that introduced unique challenges for building and maintaining trust, didn't it?
Totally. When you're not in the same physical space, how do you convey sincerity? How do you show transparency over a video call or in a Slack message or email?
Yeah, you lose so many of those in-person cues. Body language subtleties, tone of voice nuances, those spontaneous hallway chats that build rapport.
So the demand for explicit, clear, transparent virtual communication became absolutely paramount. Every written word suddenly carried more weight, more potential for misinterpretation.
Leaders had to become much more deliberate, much more intentional in their virtual presence to project that trustworthiness. It required a whole new skill set almost.
And Thompson gives a really compelling U.S. example of this in action. U.S. retail leaders at Walmart in 2025.
Walmart. Okay, huge organization. What did they do?
They use transparent town halls to directly address employee concerns. Imagine, in an organization that massive, having direct, open forums where leadership is genuinely listening and responding to questions, even the tough ones, without pre-screening everything.
Wow, that takes courage.
It does. These town halls apparently involved senior executives openly discussing company performance, strategic shifts, but crucially, acknowledging employee feedback on real issues. Things like benefits, work-life balance, scheduling concerns.
So did it work? What was the impact?
The tangible impact was significant. The Wall Street Journal reported a 15% reduction in employee turnover.
15%. In retail, that's enormous.
Enormous. It really showcases trust not just as a morale booster, but as a critical factor in retention, employee well-being, directly impacting the bottom line in a super competitive industry.
It underscores the significance of those direct, open forums, especially in big, spread-out organizations.
Absolutely. When employees feel heard, feel valued, feel their leaders are being transparent, they're far more likely to stay, to be engaged, to contribute positively. It's not just about feeling good. It's measurable ROI through human connection.
Thomson's insights here provide such concrete, actionable strategies. They empower leaders to genuinely foster trust through just their daily communication practices. Every interaction is an opportunity, right, to build or erode that vital foundation.
Exactly. Which leads us perfectly into Chapter 3, Influencing with Emotional Intelligence.
Ah, EQ. Emotional intelligence.
Thomson takes a deep dive here, framing EQ as nothing less than a communicative superpower for leaders.
A superpower. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. It's not just about what you say, but critically, how you say it, and how that delivery is finely tuned to the emotional landscape of your audience.
So reading the room, understanding the vibe.
Precisely. Understanding the mood, reading individual anxieties or maybe aspirations, and then tailoring your message accordingly so it resonates on a deeper, more human level.
Okay, so what are the key elements Thomson unpacks here? What makes up this communicative EQ?
Well, it's multifaceted. First, it's the ability to accurately read emotions, both your own, importantly, and those of others.
Okay, read emotions. How?
This isn't mind reading, obviously. It's about developing an acute awareness of verbal cues, tone, pacing, word choice, and also those nonverbal signals. Body language, facial expressions, even subtle shifts in posture.
So being observant, really paying attention.
Exactly. Being able to correctly interpret these signals allows a leader to gauge how their message is truly being received and then adjust in real time. Are people confused, frustrated, excited? Knowing this lets you respond effectively, not just plow ahead.
Okay, so reading emotions is step one. What's next?
Building on that, the second element is demonstrating genuine empathy.
Empathy goes beyond just noticing the emotion.
Way beyond. It means truly putting yourself in the other person's shoes and, crucially, showing that you understand and care about their perspective, even if you don't necessarily agree with it.
How do you show that?
It's about validating their feelings. Saying something like, I can see how frustrating this situation must be for you before you jump to offering a solution or defending a decision. That validation builds a bridge of understanding. It makes the recipient feel heard, feel respected.
Okay, read emotions, show empathy. What's the third piece?
The third is adapting your tone and delivery. This is where the rubber really meets the road.
Ah, the how you say it.
Exactly. Whether that means slowing down your speech to convey seriousness, or maybe speeding up to build excitement, raising your voice for emphasis, or lowering it to convey calm and reassurance. Every adjustment serves a purpose.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about a difficult layoff announcement. An emotionally intelligent leader might choose a very calm, measured, empathetic tone, even if they're feeling stressed internally. Why? To help maintain a sense of composure and show respect for those affected.
Right. Versus coming across as cold or rushed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Conversely, when rallying a team for, say, a new product launch, a more energetic, passionate tone would be appropriate. It's about consciously matching your delivery to the emotional needs of that specific moment, that specific audience.
And for practical application, Thomson includes these empathy exercises, right, to build this EQ muscle.
Yes, invaluable exercises. How can leaders actively practice putting themselves in others' shoes? She suggests things like role-playing scenarios.
Role-playing, how does that help?
Well, you consciously adopt another's perspective. Maybe you play the role of a disgruntled employee or a really challenging client. It forces you to try and understand their concerns and motivations from the inside out, not just intellectually.
Okay, I can see that. What else?
Another powerful one is practicing listening without judgment. Really resisting that urge to interrupt or formulate your response while someone else is still talking.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Well, absolutely. It means focusing entirely on absorbing their message, even if it's critical or challenging to hear. Just listen.
And she also mentions asking clarifying emotional questions, right?
Yes. Not just what happened, but digging deeper. How did that make you feel? Or what emotions are coming up for you right now regarding this? These open-ended questions invite that deeper emotional sharing.
And all these exercises, they help strengthen team relationships, foster a more human workplace.
That's the goal. To create a culture where individuals feel safe to express themselves, confident that their emotions will be acknowledged with respect, not dismissed.
Historically, the whole concept of EQ, it really marked a huge shift in leadership thinking, didn't it?
Oh, massive. 1995, Daniel Goleman's groundbreaking book, Emotional Intelligence. It fundamentally changed leadership training.
How so?
It moved it beyond just focusing on IQ, technical skills, logical reasoning, to include crucial emotional competence. Goleman argued pretty convincingly that EQ was often a stronger predictor of success than IQ, especially in roles needing strong people skills.
So leaders were suddenly expected not just to be smart, but emotionally attuned, self-aware, able to manage their own emotions and influence others.
Exactly. It became part of the leadership toolkit.
Yeah.
And then later, 2010s, 2020s, you have Brené Brown's incredibly influential work.
On vulnerability, courage, empathy.
Right. And her work deepened our understanding of EQ's role even further, not just in one-on-one interactions, but in broader workplace dynamics, in authentic leadership. She showed how embracing vulnerability, like admitting you don't have all the answers, could actually be a profound strength.
How it could build deeper connections, foster psychological safety where people feel okay taking risks, innovating.
Exactly. Her work really humanized leadership, moving away from that sort of stoic, all-knowing figure to someone more relatable, more compassionate.
So a real-world U.S. example of this EQ in action. Thomson mentions Kaiser Permanente healthcare executives in 2025.
Yes, a really powerful one. Especially given the context, healthcare is such a high-stress, emotionally charged environment. Burnout is a constant threat.
So what did these executives do?
They utilized empathetic staff briefings. These weren't just about relaying information. They were specifically designed to acknowledge the immense pressure nurses and medical staff were under, to validate their struggles, express genuine gratitude for their work.
How would that look?
Executives might start by explicitly sharing their appreciation for the sacrifices staff were making, maybe acknowledging specific challenges the team faced recently, or even offering a moment of quiet reflection after a particularly tough period. It's about showing you see them.
And when executives connect like that on an emotional level, acknowledging the pressure, what happens?
The impact was profound. Forbes reported an 18% improvement in nurse retention.
18%. Again, huge in healthcare where turnover is such a massive problem.
Exactly. It demonstrates EQ's critical role not just in morale, but in tangible outcomes like staffing stability, operational efficiency. By making nurses feel seen, valued, emotionally supported, Kaiser Permanente significantly reduced attrition. It shows empathy isn't just a soft skill, it's a strategic imperative with measurable returns.
Wow. Thompson's guidance here really blends the theory of EQ with practical strategies you can use right away, making these complex emotional ideas feel, well, accessible and actionable for any leader.
It really does. Which brings us to Chapter 4, Mastering Conversational Leadership.
Okay, conversational leadership. This sounds interesting. What's the focus here?
Thomson zeroes in on the often underestimated power of just everyday conversations.
Not the big speeches.
Not just those, though they matter. She's talking about the small talk, the casual check-ins, those spontaneous chats in the hallway or by the virtual water cooler, the active, genuine engagement that consistently builds rapport and subtly influences people over time.
So these seemingly minor informal interactions, they're actually crucial.
She argues they're crucial building blocks of enduring leadership presence and influence. They add up.
Okay, so what makes a conversation leader-like then, according to Thomson? It's not about dominating, right?
Absolutely not. It's not about always having the right answer either. Instead, it's fundamentally about active listening. We keep coming back to that, don't we?
We do. Truly hearing the other person.
Understanding your perspective fully. It's about asking open-ended questions, the kind that invite deeper thought and real dialogue, not just simple yes-no answers.
Like, what are your biggest priorities? Instead of, are you busy?
Exactly. Or, how do you see this challenge unfolding? Things that prompt richer responses.
Okay, active listening, open-ended questions. What else?
Fostering genuine curiosity. Showing real interest in others' ideas, their perspectives, their experiences. When a leader asks follow-up questions or expresses sincere interest in maybe a team member's personal project or passion, it builds a powerful connection.
It shows you care beyond just the work tasks.
Precisely. And finally, it's about the ability to find common ground, even when viewpoints differ. Fostering connection and collaboration by identifying shared values or common goals, even if you disagree on the specifics of the moment.
So these elements transform casual chats into, like, strategic interactions.
That's the idea. They build invaluable relationships and trust, conversation by conversation, over time.
And practical applications. How do you practice this?
Thomson recommends activities like role-playing scenarios again, but this time specifically designed to practice approachable dialogue.
So rehearsing those everyday interactions.
Yeah. Focusing on formulating those open-ended questions, practicing active listening techniques, consciously looking for those connection points. You might role-play a casual encounter with a new team member with a specific goal of discovering a shared hobby or a common professional interest.
Making the informal intentional.
Exactly. And she also provides examples of how practicing small talk, which sometimes gets a bad rap, can actually lead to larger opportunities. She emphasizes these are learnable skills and incredibly impactful.
So that chat by the coffee machine, it could be more important than we think.
It could be the start of a key partnership,
Yeah.
an unexpected solution to a nagging problem, or a breakthrough idea if handled with that leadership intent. It's about being present, engaging genuinely, seeing every informal interaction as a chance to strengthen your network and your influence.
Historically, thinking about the 2000s, there was that huge networking boom, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely exemplified by the launch of LinkedIn in 2003.
Right. LinkedIn really solidified the idea that networking was critical for your career, for business development. It made strong conversational skills not just a social plus, but an essential professional tool.
People realized success wasn't just about technical chops. It was about your ability to connect, communicate, build rapport with a wide range of people.
Yeah.
Your network became crucial.
Then boom, the 2020s. The virtual landscape shifts everything again.
Right. Leaders had to adapt all these conversational techniques for virtual events, virtual meetings. How do you build rapport when you're not in the same room?
Yeah, the limitations of body language on screen, the potential for tech glitches, the increased importance of verbal cues, deliberate engagement.
It became paramount. Learning to establish connection through a screen, making eye contact with the camera, using your voice effectively to convey warmth, that became crucial for virtual conversational leadership. A whole new challenge.
So a compelling U.S. example of this from 2025, Thomson details U.S. startup founders at SXSW.
South by Southwest. The big tech and arts festival in Austin. Okay, what happened there?
These founders apparently leveraged what seemed like just simple small talk in really informal settings. Networking events, coffee breaks, even just waiting in line for panels.
So they weren't doing hard pitches.
Not primarily. They were genuinely engaging, asking questions, finding that common ground we talked about, building connection first.
And the result?
This seemingly casual approach resulted in them securing over 800 investor meetings.
800 from small talk.
According to TechCrunch, yes. 800 meetings generated largely from informal conversations, not cold emails or formal pitch sessions.
Wow. That really illustrates the immense, often underestimated power of those informal connections, that relationship building.
It highlights what Thomson calls the serendipity factor that conversational leadership enables. Those unplanned but highly impactful moments of connection where a brief, authentic chat can open doors to huge opportunities.
It's about building that human connection that then enables the business success later on.
Exactly. Thomson provides this practical framework that genuinely transforms everyday conversations into powerful leadership opportunities, recognizing every interaction, no matter how brief, is a chance to lead, influence, and connect.
Really powerful shift in perspective. Okay, let's turn our attention to Chapter 5, delivering impactful presentations.
Public speaking, often a source of anxiety for many.
Definitely. But Thomson provides an essential guide here, moving far beyond just, standing up and reciting facts. Her laser focus is on truly impacting an audience.
Making sure the message not only lands but resonates deeply, moves people emotionally, inspires action.
Exactly. Moving from simply conveying information to inspiring genuine change and driving the outcomes you want. It's about impact, not just delivery.
So how does she break down the components of an impactful presentation?
She masterfully breaks it down. First, she emphasizes the art of storytelling.
Storytelling, making data relatable.
Precisely. Weaving facts and complex ideas into a compelling narrative. Because people remember stories far more than they remember statistics alone. A story gives context, it evokes emotion, it makes abstract concepts tangible and memorable.
Okay, storytelling is key. What else?
Effective body language. This acknowledges that our nonverbal cues often speak louder than our words.
Right. Posture, gestures, eye contact.
All of it. It has to reinforce your verbal message. Are you standing tall and confident, or are you kind of hunched and hesitant? Are you making genuine eye contact to connect, or just vaguely scanning the room or staring at your notes?
Those subtle signals can either amplify your message or completely undermine it.
Totally. Thomson coaches on how to use your physical presence consciously to project authority, warmth, and engagement.
Storytelling, body language. What's the third piece?
Dynamic audience engagement. This is about transforming the presentation from a monologue into more of a dialogue.
Getting the audience involved.
Actively involving them, inviting questions not just at the very end, but maybe strategically throughout, fostering interaction through polls, brief discussions, maybe even small group activities, depending on the setting.
That keeps people mentally present, invested.
Right. They feel like participants, not just passive recipients. It helps ensure the message isn't just heard, but actually internalized and considered.
And for practical application, Thomson really focuses on crafting a signature story, doesn't she?
Yes, that's a big one. Why is a personal, authentic story so powerful in a presentation?
Well, she argues it inspires, it connects on that crucial emotional level, and it makes complex ideas incredibly memorable. It makes you memorable.
And she outlines how to structure it.
Yeah, she outlines the elements of a compelling narrative structure that works for presentations. How to build a little suspense, introduce relatable characters, even if the character is the audience facing a problem, highlight a challenge, and then offer a resolution that drives your core message home.
So it's about making the audience feel what you're saying, not just intellectually grasp it.
Exactly. That personal touch makes your message stick long after the PowerPoint slides are gone.
Historically, thinking about presentations, the 2010s saw that massive shift with the TED Talk phenomenon, right?
Oh, absolutely. Chris Anderson's curation of TED set new global benchmarks. Ideas worth spreading.
Through concise, passionate, exceptionally well-structured talks, usually around 18 minutes.
Right. The emphasis was on genuine intellectual curiosity, solid research, but delivered in an accessible, engaging way, often stripped of all the corporate jargon or sales pitches.
It really elevated public speaking from just a delivery mechanism to more of an art form focused on deep impact and clarity.
Then the 2020s hit, bringing the virtual webinar era. That changed things again.
Dramatically. Without the immediate feedback of a live audience, the nods, the smiles, the energy in the room.
Virtual presentations demanded even greater clarity, more compelling visuals, extreme adaptability to keep remote viewers actually engaged.
Presenters had to become masters of the virtual stage. relying more heavily on clear visuals, interactive tools like chat and polls, and really using their vocal energy consciously to bridge that digital divide.
Maintaining human connection and engagement when you can't see most of your audience's faces in real time, that's a huge challenge.
It really is. So a fantastic real-world U.S. example Thomson uses is U.S. nonprofit leaders in 2024.
Okay, nonprofits, what did they do?
They utilized TED-style YouTube talks. These weren't internal updates. They were carefully crafted, public-facing presentations designed to raise awareness, solicit donations, inspire action for their causes.
So applying Thompson's principles, storytelling, authenticity, clear calls to action, but in a digital format.
Exactly, and Fast Company reported that their presentations collectively gained over 2 million views.
2 million views. That directly reflects the effectiveness of these techniques in a digital age, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It showcases the immense reach and power of well-delivered presentations on platforms like YouTube. It highlights that democratization of public speaking.
Yeah, a compelling message, delivered skillfully, can now reach a global audience without needing a physical stage. It empowers almost anyone with a message to make a significant impact using online video.
Thomson really provides a clear, actionable roadmap. It empowers leaders to consistently deliver memorable, truly impactful presentations, transforming what can be a daunting task into a powerful opportunity for influence.
Okay, moving on to chapter 6. This one focuses on arguably one of the toughest parts of leadership, navigating difficult conversations.
Yeah, nobody enjoys these, but they're unavoidable.
Totally. Thompson directly addresses handling those tough discussions, whether it's giving critical feedback to someone who's underperforming
Or resolving entrenched conflict between departments.
or having to make unpopular decisions that are going to affect a lot of people in the organization. Layoffs, budget cuts, things like that.
These are the moments that really test a leader's mettle, aren't they?
They really are. And Thompson provides a vital framework for approaching them head-on, constructively.
What's the core emphasis? How should leaders approach these?
She emphasizes a crucial dual focus, approaching them with both clarity and respect.
Clarity and respect. Okay, unpack that.
Clarity means getting your message across effectively, leaving absolutely no room for misinterpretation about expectations, consequences, or the problem itself. Being direct, unambiguous, precise.
No beating around the bush.
Right. But then there's respect. This means maintaining relationships and dignity throughout the process. Even when you're disagreeing or delivering criticism, the other person should still feel valued and heard as a human being.
So it's about fostering a path forward, not just winning an argument or imposing a decision.
Exactly. Preserving the working relationship, fostering understanding, even when the news is really tough. It's a delicate balance.
So practically, how do you do that? What activities does she suggest?
She highlights crucial activities like practicing active listening again, but especially when emotions are running high.
When someone's upset, defensive, maybe angry.
Yeah. Listening without interruption, truly seeking to understand their perspective first, can be a powerful de-escalation technique. It validates their feelings, creates an opening for constructive dialogue rather than just shutting down.
Okay, active listening under pressure. What else?
She emphasizes formulating solution-focused responses. This means consciously moving beyond blame, beyond just rehashing the problem over and over.
Shifting the conversation towards constructive outcomes. Clear next steps.
Exactly. Moving from, here's the problem, to, okay, given this, how do we move forward? What are the options? What's the plan?
And she provides actual frameworks for structuring these conversations.
Yes, to ensure fairness, transparency, and ultimately productivity. For example, a common structure she might suggest is something like, 1. State the observed behavior, objectively just the facts. 2. Explain the impact of that behavior. 3. Listen actively to their perspective without interrupting. 4. Discuss potential solutions or next steps collaboratively.
That structured approach helps keep things on track, right? Prevents it from devolving.
Yeah, it helps ensure you move from identifying the problem to finding a resolution, rather than just getting stuck circling the issue or getting defensive. It creates a path for constructive dialogue even when emotions are really charged.
Historically, thinking about conflict, the 1990s saw the influence of frameworks like getting to yes.
Right. Oh, huge influence. Getting to yes, negotiating agreement without giving in. It provided structured approaches to negotiation, to conflict resolution.
Shifting away from that adversarial win-lose mindset.
Right. Towards finding mutually beneficial, principled solutions, it taught people to separate the person from the problem, focus on underlying interests rather than fixed positions, invent options for mutual gain. That was a foundational shift in how organizations started thinking about conflict.
Then, again, the 2020s and hybrid work threw another wrench in the works.
Yeah, unique complexities for managing conflict and delivering difficult news in hybrid environments.
Because when you're not in the same room, those nuances of body language get missed on video calls.
Easily missed. And misinterpretations become more common. Like, is that moment of silence agreement defiance? Or did their internet just freeze?
Right. You don't know.
It amplified the need for explicit clarity, really intentional active listening, frequently checking for understanding. Did that make sense? How are you processing that? It made virtual, difficult conversations arguably even more challenging than in-person ones.
So a powerful real-world U.S. example, Google corporate managers in 2025.
Okay, Google. What did their managers do?
Thomson details how they successfully implemented specific active listening techniques in their hybrid meetings, specifically to address and resolve conflicts arising from remote collaboration challenges.
What kind of techniques?
They train managers to consistently use things like summarizing what they heard, so let me make sure I understand, asking open-ended questions to probe deeper, can you say more about why that felt unfair, and reflecting emotions. It sounds like you're feeling pretty frustrated by this deadline change.
And the result at Google.
Business Insider reported that this strategy led to the resolution of an astounding 85% of team conflicts.
85% resolved. That really underscores the efficiency, the effectiveness of these structured approaches.
And the tangible ROI of actually training managers in these specific skills. It shows that equipping leaders with these tools directly impacts team cohesion, reduces internal friction, boosts overall productivity. Investing in difficult conversation skills really pays dividends in today's complex work environments.
Thomson provides such thoughtful, practical strategies here. They genuinely equip leaders to navigate these challenging dialogues with more confidence, aiming for positive outcomes rather than just, dreading them and hoping they go away. It's about transforming that dread into a deliberate, positive process.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the final chapter, Chapter 7, Writing to Lead.
Okay, so broadening the scope beyond just spoken communication.
Exactly. Thomson concludes her playbook by encompassing written communication. She asserts that mediums like emails, memos, internal comms, crucial vision statements, they aren't just administrative tools. They are powerful amplifiers of leadership influence.
Extensions of your voice, basically?
Precisely. Capable of reaching broad audiences with precision, consistency, and potentially profound impact, especially in our increasingly digital world.
And the principles are consistent with the spoken word, but adapted.
Yes, the core idea remains. Use clear, concise, and inspiring language to convey purpose and direction.
Clear, concise, inspiring. Break those down for writing.
Clear means unambiguous, easily understood by anyone who reads it, regardless of their background. Concise means impactful, getting straight to the point, respecting the reader's time by cutting out unnecessary jargon or fluff. We're all overloaded with information.
Tell me about it. And inspiring, how do you do that in writing?
Inspiring means connecting the message to a broader vision, motivating action even in a static written format, tapping into shared values, shared aspirations, crafting messages that don't just clarify objectives but also rally teams, reinforce organizational values, remind everyone what the company stands for, all through the written word.
So practically, what does she suggest focusing on?
She focuses on the activity of drafting mission-driven memos.
Mission-driven memos, okay.
She emphasizes how a well-crafted memo can do so much more than just convey information. It can clarify objectives for an entire team, making sure everyone gets the what and the why. It can motivate action by linking individual tasks back to that larger, meaningful purpose. And it consistently reinforces organizational values.
Keeping the mission front and center.
Exactly. And she also provides indispensable tips for effective written communication in the digital age, things we should all probably remember.
Like what? Give us the highlights.
First, prioritize conciseness. In our saturated inboxes, shorter, impactful messages get read and acted upon. Second, ensure crystal clarity. Avoid jargon. Avoid convoluted sentences that lead to misinterpretation. Third, always include a clear call to action. What do you want the reader to do after reading this? Make it obvious.
And the last one.
Pay meticulous attention to tone. This is huge in writing. Without verbal cues, tone can be so easily misinterpreted. Deliberate word choice is crucial to ensure your message is received as intended, whether that's urgent, supportive, informative, whatever it needs to be.
That's so true. Tone is tricky in email.
Very tricky. Historically, the 2000s saw that massive digital communication surge, right? Email became dominant for business,
Yeah, everything went email.
and that dramatically emphasized the need for written clarity and professionalism. Because misinterpretations or poorly worded emails could spread like wildfire, create widespread confusion, even conflict. Leaders quickly realized their written comms needed to be as polished and strategic as their verbal presentations.
Then, in the 2020s, platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and leaders like Microsoft's Satya Nadella, they set new standards for concise, impactful written communication, didn't they? Even in super short formats.
Absolutely. Nadella is known for his ability to convey complex ideas or express empathy in just a few very well-chosen words, often in internal emails or public statements. He really exemplified how to be both brief and powerful.
Proving that brevity could be strategic, even emotionally resonant, influencing huge audiences with minimal text.
Right, and a compelling real-world U.S. example from 2025, Thomson points to. U.S. CEOs leveraging LinkedIn posts
LinkedIn again. How are they using it?
to share company missions and vision statements directly. These weren't generic updates, they were strategic communications, designed to connect directly with employees, shareholders, the broader public, articulating the company's why, its future direction. Think CEOs like Sundar Pichai at Google or Mary Barra at GM using LinkedIn as a direct broadcast channel for their leadership voice.
And did this have a measurable effect?
The Harvard Business Review reported that these kinds of strategic posts increased employee engagement by a remarkable 25%.
25% engagement boost from LinkedIn posts.
Wow. It showcases the immense power of written words to rally and connect a workforce. It demonstrates how social media platforms have become critical channels for both internal and external leadership communication. Your written words, accessible to potentially thousands, can genuinely shape culture, reinforce values, drive alignment across the whole organization.
Proving that writing to lead is absolutely a non-negotiable skill today.
Totally. Thomson provides this truly visionary approach that seamlessly ties the mastery of written words to overarching leadership success, illustrating how every single piece of communication you send out contributes to your leadership presence and your overall impact.
Wow. Well, what an incredible journey we've taken through The Leader's Voice, a communication playbook by Louise Thomson. Just recapping briefly. We started with that foundational power of individual word choice, right? Understanding how precision and intention can inspire and align teams.
Then we moved into building that bedrock of trust through transparency, consistency, active listening, recognizing it's absolutely essential, not optional.
Then we explored the communicative superpower of emotional intelligence, learning to connect on a deeper, more empathetic level by reading and adapting to those crucial emotional cues.
From there, we uncovered the surprising influence of just everyday conversations. The strategic art of mastering conversational leadership, recognizing even small talk holds immense power when done intentionally.
Then we delved into delivering truly impactful presentations, moving beyond just speaking at people to genuinely influencing them and moving them to action.
And we tackled that daunting but vital challenge of navigating difficult conversations, armed with tools for maintaining both clarity and unwavering respect.
And finally, we broadened our perspective to see how even written communication emails, memos, vision statements acts as a powerful amplifier of leadership influence. Each chapter, as Thomson so brilliantly illustrates, just builds perfectly on the last, creating this really holistic, interconnected communication playbook.
It really is interconnected. You see how trust enables EQ, how conversational skills feed into presentations, how handling tough talks and writing clearly are all essential threads in that leadership tapestry.
Indeed, and it's really about making these sometimes complex ideas feel accessible and, more importantly, actionable for you, our listener. Our mission is always to help you gain knowledge quickly but thoroughly, giving you multiple perspectives and hopefully those valuable aha moments without the information overload.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe consider this. If leadership is fundamentally about influence, and influence is primarily built through communication, whether that's spoken, written, or nonverbal, then how might mastering these principles not just enhance your own leadership effectiveness, but maybe fundamentally reshape the culture, the potential of any team or organization you're part of?
Yeah, think about that ripple effect your improved communication could have, far beyond just your immediate interactions, impacting engagement, retention, innovation, maybe even the bottom line right across the board.
It's a powerful thought.
And maybe on that note, a more immediate question for you to ponder. What's one single, maybe small adjustment you could make in your communication today, based on everything we've discussed, that could potentially yield the biggest shift in your influence tomorrow? Just one tiny tweak, perhaps, but a powerful one.
Food for thought.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us for this in-depth exploration into the heart of leadership communication through Louise Thomson's work. We genuinely hope you feel more informed, maybe inspired, and definitely ready to put some of these powerful insights into practice.
Yeah, it's truly been a privilege diving into this material with you all. We look forward to our next deep dive together.